Hey, I'm Geeky Pastimes, and in this video we're going to break down the official reveal trailer. So if you haven't checked it out already, I have another video where I got invited to an event where they talked to us a lot, DICE talked to us a lot about what we can expect from Battlefield 2042, and it's so exciting to be able to finally talk about all of that stuff. And then in that video I talk about sort of the question and answer session that we had with the developers. In this video I'm going to focus purely on the official reveal trailer and just kind of break down some of the things that the developers told us about things that you see in the trailer. So try and hopefully give you a bit more information about things that are in it. So I think the opening of this trailer is unbelievably cool. So seeing this map, this is like one of the bigger maps. I think it's very, very cool. And you can see straight away there, you've got kind of an Osprey, which is like one of those big planes that have like kind of two helicopter blades on the tips of the wings that can turn vertically for vertical takeoff and landing and can go horizontally, firing off flares. This is all playable space as far as I know on this map. And this is one of the objective places, one of the objective sites. You've also got some of the ice down there that you see later. You see a hovercraft driving through there. So this is definitely one of the bigger maps. So this is a pretty huge place. Very, very cool seeing this going in, and then the people jumping off and having to deal with it. As you can see here, still loads of verticality in these maps. Like, obviously that's been a big thing in Battlefield for a while, the idea of being able to like jump off tall things and parachute down. I think that looks absolutely awesome. And you can see there, the idea of there being lots of players. It is confirmed this is 128 players, so 64 versus 64. So all of the things that you're used to from Battlefield being 64 player, those kind of epic moments where you've got most people on your team pushing one objective and crazy stuff happening. There's going to be twice as many players now, which is absolutely awesome. Really, really like sort of the explosions after that. And the wingsuit. So the wingsuit that you saw just there, that's a kind of interesting thing that they talked very, very briefly about this, that the wingsuit is not something that every player is going to have. So it's not like you can just choose whether you want to have a parachute or if you want to have a wingsuit instead. On the fly, as it were, when you're falling. Instead, I think it's going to be a specialist. It's going to be one of the specialists they haven't spoken about. It's going to have this wingsuit as an option, kind of instead of their parachute, which might be able to give you obviously a lot more horizontal movement, maybe. I'm not sure. But very, very cool anyway. I'm loving the color scheme on this. I think it's super awesome. So this is another one of the big maps. This is a map set in Korea, and it's apparently got this like quantum entanglement lab type thing that's being fought over in the middle there. You can see this another massive map where you've got people on the rooftops. So you can see there's a helicopter parked on that rooftop. Very, very cool seeing sort of like all the space. This is one of the maps you see quite a lot in this, and I think quite a lot of the gameplay is happening here, including the bits with the tornado later. Then we've got the sort of spot robot. So this is like the thing that obviously Boston Dynamics make. We don't know much about this. I don't know whether this is a specialist part that's going to follow you around, whether it's a vehicle you can drop in. I've got a very crazy theory, and this is not something the developers said at all. This is something that's completely coming out of my head that I would kind of love, is what if this is a specialist? Like, what if this is one of the specialists and you can be it? And like, you can choose to play as a robot. That would be cool. I've got no idea whether that's something that's possible or likely, or whether this is going to be something that's remote control or something that's AI controlled. I've got no ideas, but it looks very cool. It's very chunky, and hits home that idea of this being kind of near future, because obviously these kind of robots do exist already. They haven't been weaponized, in the theater yet. Maybe I don't know, maybe they have been in secret and something like that. But, by 2042, you can imagine that's, 21 years away, that it's likely that we'll start seeing these things. I love how fast it goes. This scene reminds me a little bit of John Wick 2, that scene where they're like shooting each other and there's one guy on the balcony and one guy downstairs. I like how you've got these like multiple layers of combat happening. It's very cool. Then you've got these tanks, and this is in the shipbreaker place. This is another one of the massive maps where you've got these massive cargo ships or container ships being taken apart. Lots of the images we've seen for this map involve tanks, like loads of them involve tanks. So I think this is going to be your big one with like big open spaces for tanks to fight. And then if you want to get in those kind of close quarter combat situations, maybe you'll be able to play, you'll be able to go in and tackle some of the objectives inside the ships. If you haven't seen my other video, they've changed up the way Conquest works, where instead of just having like one objective at a point of interest, they'll have a cluster of them, and it's called a sector now. So like maybe the ship will have like 3 different objectives on it that you can fight over. So if you just want to spend the whole game fighting over those 3 objectives, you will be able to, which I think is very cool, rather than just having like one objective where if the enemy give up on it, you don't have anything to do because the enemy's spawning so far away. I think this could be very, very cool. And now this is another one of these kind of levolution type things. We've seen, later on in this, we see the tornado. Here you can see the kind of side of this ship takes a load of damage, and kind of it looks like a load of charges go off up the sides of it. And then that means that you've got the side of the ship coming down, which I'm guessing will give access to the inside of the ship, maybe for tanks, maybe for just, snipers and things like that. It's very, very cool. It looks like some people get crushed underneath there, which is kind of unfortunate. But it's huge. Oh, Jesus, that's horrible. It's huge. Now, this is another map. This is one where it's sort of at this port. All the images I've seen of it have been at night time. Apparently, the cranes can be controlled or activated in some way to move these containers about. So it will kind of change the flow of the map, change the shape of the map. I think this is one of the smaller maps. So, maybe less big vehicle conflict, less tank stuff, but instead you've got the containers shifting, be quite confusing. I love the fact that, it's basically confirmed that you can take dog tanks off people again. Very, very cool. I like all that stuff. And here you actually see like cranes collapsing. Now this, like I said, I think this is the same map as the beginning that we saw. This is down on the floor where you see the hovercrafts going over ice and this cool ice tank. Looks like the thing out of Fast and Furious. This is very cool. One thing I've noticed is that I'm not seeing very much water in this. I don't think I've seen any ships in this, as in ships floating. So I'm not sure if there's going to be any combat to do with water and going underwater and things like that. I'm not sure. There might be, but I don't think I've seen any. So this one, actually, I suppose there's some water around this island, so maybe you can, just in this map, go around the edge. This is obviously orbital. This is where you've got the launch, and they talked quite a lot about this rocket, about the idea. The rocket will launch. I'm not sure if that's something you activate or it's a time-based thing, I'm guessing probably, but they have confirmed you can destroy the rocket. They didn't say how you do it, so maybe it's something where you have to do a certain sequence of events, or maybe it's just a certain amount of damage or something, but you can destroy the rocket, and I think it's going to be quite impressive when this rocket goes boom. As someone that loves space launches, even just watching this crazy launch tower split apart, that seems super cool to me. I don't know what these big fins are for. I don't really see that, at Kennedy or at the Russian launches, but it looks super cool, the way this rocket is kind of unveiled. Maybe it's like armor, because they know this is launching in a war zone. I think in the description for this map, it said something about it being a controversial rocket launch. I'm not entirely sure what that means. Whether it's going to be, whether there's meant to be people on this, escaping Earth, because it sounds like Earth is pretty messed up. I've got no idea. I love rocket launchers so much. But you can see there's people fighting right next to launch. That is a very bad place to be standing in a real launch. You do not want to be standing near the flame trench. So I'm not sure if you'll just get incinerated if you're standing anywhere near the launch. It looks like it, maybe. Right, then we've got this map. I really love the visuals of this map, kind of the red and orange, the sand in the air. The glowing buildings looks very cool. It looks a little bit like the most recent Godzilla film, when they're fighting in Shanghai, I think it is. It looks a little bit like this. Very, very cool. Seeing some helicopter combat, helicopter on helicopter fighting here. One thing that I noticed, and you can see it a little bit there actually, is when the helicopters are striking the buildings, you're seeing some damage to the buildings. You can sort of see it along the bottom there. I don't know, I'm assuming you're not going to be able to play on every floor of these buildings or anything like that. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to make holes in walls or anything. And that's one of the things I haven't seen at all yet actually, is kind of what the destruction looks like in terms of, can you do the sort of Bad Company 2 thing of firing a grenade launcher at a wall so you can make a new entrance to a building? Can you if a sniper's hiding somewhere, can you blow up the wall around them? Can you collapse entire buildings on people? Do any of these skyscrapers come down? No idea about any of that. So we're going to have to see for more reveals to see whether any of that sort of stuff is going to be in it. That does look very cool, the way those helicopters crash. I really like the way all the vehicles kind of fall apart in this. I think it's very, very cool how you see bits of them flying off. This next section is something that I actually asked one of the developers about, where I was saying about, like, this trailer obviously shows lots of these kind of battlefield moments, and like, have they designed a game around trying to make those kind of things happen, things that maybe they saw content creators make in the past? Have they tried to design the game to sort of feature more stuff like that? And they were talking about the idea that a big part of what they have done to enable that is level design. So things like having the zip wires between skyscrapers and putting ramps on things just to make it so like you can do cool jumps a little bit easier and stuff like that, which I really like the idea of that. This helicopter looks OP. But yeah, so this quad jump is something where like they've clearly been like, okay, we kind of want you to be able to drive a quad off the side of a building, maybe into a helicopter. Like, that's awesome. And just the way the vehicles like break apart, it just looks so cool. And obviously this is something that obviously one thing they talked about with the aircraft is that the area that you can fly aircraft around in is much bigger than it has been in previous games. So you've kind of got two playable areas. You've got the one on the ground, and then you've got the one in the air for planes to maneuver in. And one in the air is way bigger than it has been before. They talked about wanting to avoid the kind of flying around in a goldfish bowl kind of feeling that you might have had before. So that's what they've been doing. So it seems very, very cool. And it seems like, you know, you'll be able to do some proper dogfighting rather than constantly turning all the time. But, you know, this is absolutely awesome. And it's nice that they put it in a trailer, so it's like, yeah, they definitely want to do a render zook. Like, they want you to be able to do that and get back in a plane. I'm not entirely sure if that's how you get back in. What is that, a raptor? That's a bit insane, but it looks very cool. And this is, you know, go back to Korea map, like I said, there's quite a lot in this. And you can see these crazy air battles going off in the up high, and then the soldiers fighting down the ground. It's so cool. And then the tornado. So we've actually seen quite a lot about the tornado. They talked in the question and answer session that we saw a little bit about the idea that the tornado might appear in different places or might move in different ways, I think. I'm not sure if it's going to be on other maps other than this one, but it definitely sounds like it's not always in the same place on this one. So there's a sort of dynamic element to this, which is really cool. They also talked about it lifting debris and vehicles and people, and like those things then are given like kind of energy. So if you get hit by a vehicle that's been chucked out of a tornado, like that's going to kill you. And you can get hit by debris and stuff when you're flying up in them. So these are very dangerous and also quite unpredictable, which for me is really good. Like I really like sort of unpredictable elements in these games that maybe make for like cool moments or cool stories and stuff. I think it looks very, very cool. The tornadoes. I just like the way that, you know, all these soldiers are like, but like when you've been playing Battlefield for a while, you're going to be like, oh no, not again. Also, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference there. The tuk-tuk, seeing a tuk-tuk is amazing. Like tuk-tuks are a lot of fun in any game that they're in. So I'm very excited to see tuk-tuks in this, especially flying tuk-tuks. Seeing that sign crash down, I'm guessing that might be sort of, you know, like I said, I'm not sure if any of the buildings come down, but it definitely seems like there's going to be elements of the buildings that can be broken off and destroyed. That looks very satisfying, very cool. You can see the players get picked up there. I think that can happen to you. You can just get picked up. And your whole tuk-tuk get picked up. One thing about the vehicles, you can see there's 3 people in the vehicles. So one of the things that made me laugh about this is I twigged this quite early on. 3 people in tuk-tuk, very cool. That they talked about making sure every player has like a vital role within a vehicle. So in some vehicles you might have like anti-air stuff, or some vehicles you might have like a spotter position or things like that. So they don't want the idea that you're just sitting in the back of a vehicle as a passenger and you don't have anything to do. Like you're always going to have something important to do. I'm not sure what the people in the back of a tuk-tuk are going to do. I'm excited to find out, but I don't know what the vital role is going to be in the back of a tuk-tuk. But it's going to be very cool. Let's see here. People deciding, nope, screw this. The driver of the tuk-tuk, no less, jumping out and then wingsuiting away. Very cool. Not sure how much control you'll have in this kind of situation, but absolutely awesome. And that is the trailer. So I think this is one of the best reveal trailers of all time. Like, this is genuinely an incredible reveal trailer. I'm so excited about this game. I've really, really enjoyed everything they've shown us about it so far. You're going to be able to find out more about it this weekend at E3. It talks about in this trailer, it just sort of gives you a date saying you're going to be able to see the gameplay trailer on Sunday, on June 13th. Then you're going to find out more about it EA Play on the 22nd of July. So it's a little while to wait, but you're going to find out about one of the new modes there. I'm super excited. If you want to see more Battlefield content, please don't forget to like and subscribe, put the notifications on. I'm going to be making loads of Battlefield content, you know, over the summer in the build up to the game's release. And then when the game comes out, I can't wait to start playing it. I'll be playing it over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Geeky Pastimes. So please do go and follow me over there. Thank you very much and goodbye.